Fiona's built like a baddie. I don't care what any of y'all say. So, for those who are unaware, there is currently in DreamWorks a Shrek 5 in the works. Thankfully, the people that made Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish are the ones behind it, so it's in relatively good hands. But I want to talk about what made the first 3 Shrek movies so good, and I want to talk about what made the 4th one so bad, and why I'm hoping that the team behind the new Shrek movie will make the right analysis of things going forward. Okay. So the first thing we got to note about Shrek is that he as a character is very resistant to change. He's not completely, you know, immune to it or against it even, but he is very much, as we can see in the very first scene of the first movie, he is very content with his lot in life. He's very at peace with his life, with how things are, his station. He is not someone who is particularly pressed about anything. He has reached some level of self actualization. Now, granted, as we watch more of the movies and find out more of his backstory, like from when he was younger, like his upbringing and stuff of that nature, it's less of a I'm happy with my lot in life, and more of just like I have accepted what that lot in life is for me. That being said, when we come across Shrek in the beginning of the first film, he is very much at peace. He doesn't really have any qualms per se about, where he is in life until external forces, Lord Farquaad, the local baron, um, has basically done a genocide to the local magical creatures and sent them to the fucking swamp. His swamp, the swamp where he lives, unfortunately. And as a result of this, he basically, through meeting this annoying talking donkey who, you know, he realized, hey, I don't know where the fuck this is. Donkey's like, I know where it is. I'll take you. He is somebody who enjoys his solitude, his peace, and not really being around other people, mainly because that is, what he was forced into, and he made peace with that. With being having to be around other peoples and people being in a swamp and having to go on this adventure with Donkey, it leads him to being in a position where he has stuffed all of those difficult, frustrating feelings of loneliness, of like lack of community and all those things. And through Donkey and Fiona, and later Fiona, and the journey he goes up through with them, he sort of becomes, he starts working through the, position society had put him in and realizing, hey, being around other people ain't so bad. It is one of those things where, he is so, amenable to people at this point, and the growth he's has over the course of the movie leads to the point where, like, he not only levels up from being able to do the basic social thing of being able to make friends, but doing advanced socialization in the sense of falling in love and being somebody that somebody would want to fall in love with. It's a really beautiful story. Like, I say this not as a joke. I say this genuinely. It is a really great example of like how, somebody like your incels or femcel types who are generally like asocial and don't really have any friends and don't really have any like loving, meaningful relationships can kind of see how somebody in that position through, trial by fire sort of can grow as a person and, gain the things that they thought that they could live without. It's a really beautiful story when you think about it. From there, we're on to two. Uh, we are at a point where, Shrek obviously has become a person who, he loves his wife. He likes his friends, even if Donkey's annoying as shit. And it's really a testament, to like his growth as a person. And then he finds out, oh, my new wife, who I've just spent weeks/months with, is like is a princess. Like, yeah, I know she's Princess Fiona, but like there's an actual kingdom and shit behind it. And what ends up happening is she, like, crap, I got in-laws now. And, what ends up happening is that despite, you know, learning how to be around people again and learning how to like being around people again and learning how to love, Shrek never really dealt with the underlying thing of like, I also like my lot in life. Now, granted, my lot in life is most certainly a result of, circumstance. I have never, the situation that I'm currently in is a manifestation of like society and shit, and I've never had the opportunity to know anything else. So where does that lead them to? You're now having a case of, oh shit, like my in-laws are like in a completely different place, like societal stature in life. And it's also Shrek 2, it also is a bit of an allegory to a degree about like interracial relationships, which I think is also very interesting as well. That being said, of course, you know, with Shrek 2, the big underlying thing is that he has to deal with the concept of fish out of water, of is this person who I'm, with, like they have an entire family that and responsibilities that come with their station, and I gotta get over it, to that degree. And the biggest thing is that his own feelings of insecurity that come with um this new reality, and his feelings of, inadequacy, of just like realizing this is where life has been. This is where, my life had led because I didn't have any other options. I don't feel like I'm worthy of this, this is what leads him to go try and find the happily ever after potion and try and figure all that shit out. And then, with the underlying thing of at the end of it being like, hey, um, it doesn't matter how you fucking look. I love you no matter what, which was the ultimate thing that like, made Fiona be, fully fall in love with him to the level that she did in the first movie. And it's kind of swapped back on him in the second, of just like, I'm with you and through thick and thin. You are who I love no matter what, and I don't care how the fuck you look. It is the substance of your heart, not not how you look, that is the issue. It is a, it's the second movie obviously is the best one for a myriad of different reasons, but that brings us into the third. The third movie being, oh shit, my wife's preggers. I have all of now even more. I am now comfortable enough to cover for my father-in-law while he's sick, and now we got to go find his replacement because I can't do this shit anymore. I want to go home. You know, and my wife doesn't want to do the shitty that she wants to go home too. But she's preggers now, and I find this out, and now I'm dealing with the repercussions of first he dealt with I'm lonely and I don't have anything to deal with, and I don't know anybody because nobody wants to fuck around with me. I am living in this in the environment that I'm living in because society put me this in this way, and now he's like I am insecure about the thing in about paternal stuff because of how my father treated me, and we get a whole background on that when he's talking to Arthur in the third movie about his upbringing and how awful it was. And he's kind of forced to deal with it in this way by having this paternalistic guardianship role of Arthur and mentoring, this young man who is kind of being fish out of water type of shit anyways. So this brings me, which brings us ultimately to the fourth movie, which is Shrek has a midlife crisis. He's not happy with any of the things that he currently has, and that leads into the entire plot of the movie. And yes, there's the concept of he goes and he realizes, oh, like he realizes, oh, this is why I fall in love with this woman originally. I took everything I had for granted, all that shit, but it really isn't that much of a focus. And this is a big reason why the fourth movie was a flop, and why I hope that the fifth movie doesn't repeat these same mistakes. The reason why all of the plot that I talked about in the first, second, and third movies, these are the B plots. These are not the main things going on. The A plot of the movie is Shrek trying to get the motherfuckers out of his swamp by saving Princess Fiona. The B plot is him coming to terms with his solitude, how comfortable he is with that solitude, and whether or not that's something that he coming to grips with, is the solitude something he actually chose for himself. The second movie is about um expectations in regards to it's about expectations in regards to you know your life, and now how do you have you now that you have this person that you love so completely, who is now a fully part of your life, how does how does the needs of that person change what you want, which is a huge thing you have to consider in relationships, right? And along with the you're bringing this entire other person who has lived this entire other life into your life, and you are now making a unit of a relationship with them and everything that comes with that. Then you have the third movie, which is dealing with the childhood trauma and the insecurities and worries of you not being able to, of you being worried of repeating the mistakes of the past. And the big thing about all of these Shrek movies is that the A plot of what's going on drives the B plot. And what I mean by that is, in the first movie, Shrek wants to get the motherfuckers out of the swamp. So he's forced to go on a trip with Donkey, who's his first friend, and Fiona, who ends up becoming his wife. This forces him to deal with his issues of solitude. In the second movie, he is concerned about what things are going on in terms of life and shit, as well as the premises, by and large, of having being in an environment that you are not comfortable with, you know by virtue of having to go meet the parents and everything that goes on with that and the fairy godmother shit. It is all in service to Shrek dealing with his insecurities around, you know his station in life. Solitude, station in life. And then the third movie, going to go find Arthur to take over the throne of Far, Far Away, the purposes of which is to, deal with the childhood trauma and the, fear of, repeating the same mistakes as his parents. You know, by virtue of having to mentor Arthur throughout the events of that movie. It forces Shrek to deal with the underlying B plot by the contrivance of the A plot. And that is why the fourth movie was as bad as it was. It wasn't him working on something with himself, his own insecurity, or like developing as a person through trial by fire with like the press three movies. It was him regressing, dealing with the consequences of that regression, and then going back to normal. There was no progress. There was no character progression. And also, it could also be said that timey-wimey multiverse bullshit tends to be the death of good writing. Not always. Doctor Who begs to differ, but even then, Doctor Who is contrived as all bullshit. Regardless, this is the premise that I wanted to focus on. The A plot is in service of the B plot with Shrek movies. The A plot is the catalyst by which the B plot, which is the insecurities and chance for growth that Shrek has, like becomes a better person by virtue of accomplishing the quest. This is a big, big, big reason why the fourth movie did not work, and why, if they do a fifth movie, they've really got to lock in to make sure that that happens. The Shrek movies on the surface might just seem simple, contrived family slop, but they are actually tonally and like written wise very intricate. The second movie especially, because there's so many moving parts, themes, and underlying plot points that all need to be uh circulated on one, two, or three things just to make sure that everything works properly. It is very much a notion of, at the end of the day, being able to thread the needle of everything going on with the plot is not an easy thing, which is part of the reason why when they rushed out Shrek Forever After, it was as bad as it was. I'm hoping that this new movie that they end up doing is good. It is, if nothing else, going to be a particularly important, I don't know. I'm scared that they're gonna fuck it up. It's like I said, it's the team behind Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, so we're in good hands, I think. But because the biggest thing that makes or breaks a Shrek movie is the writing. Like, they are very well thought out, very mindful, very emotionally intentional movies, despite how silly that they might be. And threading all that needle along with adding the comedic relief necessary to make them great, easier said than done. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I'm sending you to pre-recorded Evan.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at HIMediaTV/Discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at HIMedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.